Hello, I'm Angela Aurora Medway-Smith. Welcome to the 2026 series Bitesize Business Basics. We have 6 sessions of short, succinct presentations from experts who will help you up-level your business. I hope you enjoy them. Good morning. I'm Angela Aurora Medway-Smith and I'm the Practical Mystic. Welcome to another episode of Bitesize Business Basics. I would like to introduce the wonderful Tes Macpherson. Tess is co-founder of Coach Online and Clients Online, 2 AI-powered platforms helping coaches, healers and consultants to build and deliver transformational practices without the tech overwhelm. She's passionate about putting AI in service of the mission-driven entrepreneur. And Tess is sharing a talk with us today, soul-led and AI-supported, growing your practice without losing your magic. And I'm really, really excited to hear what you've got to say, Tess, and learn from you. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much,
The
Angela.
floor
I
is
really
yours.
appreciate it. Thank you. I really appreciate being invited today to talk to your audience. And yeah, as you said, I'm very passionate about helping people to access tech that can help them have more impact. So yeah, I'll start sharing my slides now. Hope I picked the right one. There's it gone. Right. Okay, can you see my screen? Lovely. Okay. So hi everyone, my name is Tes Macpherson, and today I'm here to talk to you about how AI can be used as a powerful collaborator for you and help you have more impact. I know people can be quite afraid of AI and how it is replacing humanity, or lots of fear mongering going on, and I think it can be a really powerful collaborator. So let's see how we can make it become something that amplifies your work. So, a little bit about me first. I've got a 30-year background in tech. And prior to this, I designed software systems for corporates and startups alike. I helped a lot of solopreneurs as well, which is how I met a lot of coaches and really realized that, apart from the amazing work they're doing, they're really getting stuck on the tech aspect. So I started looking at that. But prior to that, I built an app for school communities because it was really frustrating for me to see how school communities, there were only a very few people who were actually helping out at, say, PTA events or getting involved because they were working parents and unable to get involved or were worried about being overwhelmed. And that's an example of how I thought tech could really help everybody to connect better and just do a little bit if they could help. And it really worked. And I managed to grow that to 250,000 followers and 40,000 users. And after that, once I started meeting coaches, I built an app together with my husband, who is my co-founder. We built this app to help coaches to leverage AI for strategy, which people haven't been doing very well and still aren't doing so well. So, which is why we went to the coaching academies like Henley and Optimus, and they partnered with us to use our platform for their coaches. And then finally, I founded Clients Online, which I'll also tell you more about. So, as I mentioned, a lot of people, coaches or solopreneurs, are starting to use AI, but it's mainly for things like content creation, blog posts, LinkedIn posts, social media updates. And there's a lot of content out there that frankly, isn't very good. There's a lot of noise. And I think partly the reason for that is that people are not being strategic about it. They're not doing the thinking up front. They're just churning out what they think might work. And missing that strategic foundation is a crucial flaw, really. And that is why lead generation, as in finding customers and clients, can be very difficult if you spend a lot of effort doing the wrong things, really. So that's what inspired us to create Coach Online, because what we found with that coaches, we were like helping coaches get set up with their websites and funnels, but they had no idea what to put in them and had some really bad ideas. And we were like, well, you could really use AI to help you with this. And that's where we created Coach Online as a platform that would help them figure out their strategy. And so this is what we did. Before they built their website or funnel, we helped them to identify their niche. Now, this is something you can do with your whatever. If you've started using a chatbot like ChatGPT or Claude, there's something you can do is really help it if you haven't really nailed your niche and understood exactly who you're here to help. This will really this is a way of opening it out and then bring it back in. So if there's anything you've missed that's perfect for you, it really helps you to do that. So that's something that you can do by exploring, talking to an AI bot and looking at what your passions are, what your expertise is, what your credentials are, what you enjoy, what gets you paid. All of these aspects can be brought together to help you identify the right niche for you. And then you can look at who your ideal client would be and look at the psychology of that. Consider what their fears are, their obstacles, desires, and the goals that they're trying to achieve. And that really concentrates you on what kind of offers will resonate with them in the language that resonates with them. And it really helps you to think about that customer journey from when they're not even aware of you. They may not even realize they have a problem. They're just feeling some symptoms and they don't know what the underlying cause is. So by diving deep into this, and you can do this with AI as a partner, you can map out where your offers can fit into this, or where your skills, your experience, and approach are perfect for this person. And having that crystal clear profile of your ideal client will really boost the way that your marketing works. And then step three is the figuring out what the stepping stones are now that you understand what they're going through and the life cycle of a customer as they would kind of find out about you. You know, what they call this marketing funnel, when they become aware of you, start comparing you maybe to other potential coaches or consultants, and then as they go through that process of needing to make a decision because they really want change to happen, then you now understand what are the stepping stones you need. And usually what I recommend is that you start with what is the ultimate end game of what you want to be able to deliver to them, and then work backwards and think about the stepping stones to lead someone to taking that leap of faith and investing, in what can be a very substantial amount and should be for the transformation that you're giving them. So working out what you can give them a little bite-sized pieces, as per the name of this podcast, figuring out what are those. And that's the kind of thing that AI again can help you with in terms of strategy. So it's not just content. It's like, let's look at where you want them to end up and what are the reasonable stepping stones that will give people confidence to keep moving forward and working with you. And usually, you must have heard of lead magnets or freebies. So it's basically, what is it that you can give them of value that will give them a pretty concrete aha moment where they go, oh, I had this issue, or I noticed this symptom, and then you've got my attention with it. And when I downloaded your freebie or watched your video or whatever it is that you give them as this free lead magnet to draw them to you, they have that aha moment and say, wow, that really gave me value. What else does this person have for me? I like the way they work. What they're saying makes sense to me, and I felt the difference. So that little bite-sized piece is what gets them, growing in confidence that you are the one they want to work with. Because there's at least two things that you need to think about. One is, are you the right person? And the second thing is they really need to believe that they can change as well. And So then it's the combination of, are you the person that will help them to make that change? So all of those things, if you have a conversation with Claude or ChatGPT or any other Gemini, these are the kind of things that you can explore. Um, and yeah, the main thing is that you got to look at all this stuff before you start building websites or creating freebies and putting, a lot of effort into spreading those freebies around, because if those lead magnets are drawing the wrong people to you or has the wrong messaging, you're going to end up with a bunch of people on your list, maybe if you do it well, but they won't be the right people. They're not going to be the ones who are, going to be ideal for working with you. So it's really important. Um, and that is actually what our Coach Online tools do. We take you through this whole process. So if you are really well versed with working with AI and you want to, or you just want to explore and get to know it and have a very fluid way of doing things, then I would encourage you to do that. There's nothing to stop you doing that with any kind of decent quality chatbot. However, if you don't feel like you have the headspace or you want to be guided through a structured process, then I would love you to come and check out Coach Online. So the other way to use AI is as a co-pilot for your actual growth strategy. But I really want to stress that anytime you're working with AI, make sure you stay in the driver's seat. And I've even said fight back, because I don't know how many times, you've tried it and you've said, oh, I've had this idea. And Claude or whoever comes back says, oh, that's absolutely brilliant. You're a genius. Like, yeah, this is going to change everything. No one's ever done this before. And then you go, well, hang on a minute, actually, that's kind of flawed what I suggested because of this. Oh, you're absolutely right. How many times do you see that? You're absolutely right. Yeah, you're right. That'll never work. Like, well, you kind of lose confidence, don't you, in an AI that does that U-turn, and that happens all the time. But it's really, really important that you don't outsource your thinking. They call it cognitive atrophy, right? When you stop thinking and you just go, tell me what to do. And it comes up with all this stuff that sounds kind of plausible. But it turns out that there's big holes in it. So stay vigilant and always, look at it carefully, think about whether it's right for you, and keep leading it and steering the ship, right? Don't let go of the control of it. It's a partner, it's a thought partner to help you. It can help you research specific targets as well if you want to look at who your ideal customers might be, look at who your ideal partners might be, and then always think about it, keep asking what's in it for them so that you can craft your messages or outreach to attract the right people so you don't spend time trying to work with the wrong people. And then AI can be brilliant for helping you draft that, but remember to stay in the driving seat. So then the next thing that happens is, like, once you've figured out your foundations, and especially when you have an organic structure, you then, you've used this growth mechanism to start getting more leads, or working with the right partner. So that in itself is a challenge, right? But even the people who do solve that challenge, they can get into this trap where they can't deal with the number of customers that come in their way. So, using referrals is fantastic, but sometimes that does dry up, and sometimes it works in a way. Um, Excuse me, I'm trying to close all these messages that are pinging at me. I apologize that I didn't have on Do Not Disturb. Um, so yeah, the way that it referral cycle work, it's brilliant when you've built your network and you're out there, meeting all the right kind of people, and they're starting to refer you, and so do your previous clients. That's fantastic, but it's very unpredictable, and you end up in this feast or famine where sometimes it's really going well, and other times it's just really quiet, and you start to wonder where everyone is, and it's emotionally exhausting as well. Um, and so, even if you do have like a really busy period, or if you especially start to, discover how paid ads can help you to really amplify your reach, the problem is that, if you can't serve all those people, you have to ask them to wait and get them on a wait list, and not everyone will wait. Some of them will want help sooner, and it's just very hard to keep people waiting that long. And that's why people have, looked at group programs, workshops, online courses. These are all things that can help you to scale more. And this is how, you get these 6-figure, 7-figure coaches, because obviously they're not charging their, 10 clients 200 grand each or whatever. They're actually multiplying what they do by scaling in a way that is accessible for a lot of people at the same time. But with group programs, often there's a live element, and there are a few pitfalls. Let me see if I've covered this on the slide. Sorry. Yeah. So basically, there are a few pitfalls with things like online courses because you're giving them lessons, you're teaching them. They say teach a man to fish, right? Which is a great idea. It's like, okay, you don't have to go and get them a fish every time. However, not everybody gets great at fishing. Sometimes you teach them and they're just not very good at it. They can't figure out how to apply it to themselves. You're teaching them concepts. And sometimes what they need is one breakthrough. They don't need to be having, they don't need to be doing this thing over and over and over. They just need someone to help them get out of the place that they're in. And courses aren't necessarily the best way to do that. Sometimes they want to be led through, and that's why your one-to-one work is so powerful, because you're actually going to hold their hand through the whole thing and adapt it to what they need. The other way that people do it is the group programs. And if you have, you're limited on the numbers on a group program if you really want to give people that personalization. Otherwise, if you do a membership or something bigger, what can happen is that you get people who take the few hot seat places that are available. And yes, there are common issues that people can relate to, but some of the time people do get, a bit jaded with that kind of thing because it's not exactly their situation. They still can't apply it. So nothing's really as good as working with that coach directly. But if they can't afford it, or you've only got so many people you can fit into your week, so you just can't help everybody. And that's why people end up writing books, right? They've got books with frameworks where, again, it's the same, similar to a course. You're teaching people concepts and then they have to figure it out. You might give them a workbook with it, but they've still got to figure it out. Now, what we've done is we've learned the lessons from building the Coach Online platform, where we had frameworks about niching, about defining your ideal client, and loads more. And what we found is that by creating an AI program that knew our system and then asking really specific questions. So we knew the right questions to ask, because when people go to a chatbot, they don't always have the right approach. They're not curious enough to keep digging and keep digging and asking the right questions that an expert would ask. So what we did was we took the way we did Coach Online and those frameworks, and we created a platform called Clients Online. And what that does is allows experts to create their frameworks, things that they wrote in a book, things that they put in a workshop, things that they got on their signature program. And they put it into an AI program that then when somebody logs in as a client, they can work through the whole framework guided by them, almost as if it's you sitting there on a session with them, because you're asking specific questions. You've got your videos that you can give them so that they feel like you're there. And when they answer those questions, the reports that it generates are completely personalized to everything they've said, but with your knowledge and your approach and your methodology applied. So it's really powerful, especially if they start off with a diagnostic module where you're asking all those, where are you at questions, and then figure out which modules apply to them, which bits are relevant to them. They're not just logging into some great big system where they have to do everything and some of it's relevant, some of it's not. It's really, really tailored and super powerful. And it just allows for much more effective scaling for you and for the client. So this is what I've been describing. So you've got the structure of a course, and you can really encapsulate your philosophy, your approach, your energy. So it's not at all the same as them going to a chatbot and asking questions. They get completely generic guidance there that doesn't have your knowledge, your expertise. So this captures all of that, and it also gives them that feedback, talking about the answers they've given to those really deep questions. And then, of course, it's been trained to use your language and come back to them as if it's something you would have said to them. So that's super powerful. And just to give you an idea what that looks like, here's a demo program that we created. And you can see that the first module is this inner compass. So it's asking them all the questions about where they're at, trying to figure out what it is that they're trying to achieve, why are they stuck? And then the rest of the modules will address specific parts of what we uncover in that first module. So just to give you an idea, it does look a bit like an online course, but the outcomes are very, very different. They're not learning. You can give them some context, just enough context, short videos that just set the scene so that they can answer the questions the right way. But really, what you're giving them is the outputs. But I think one of the problems with custom GPTs and things like that people sometimes build is that they lose control. They don't know what the client's experiencing. And that's what we've addressed here, because here you'll see that from the coach's perspective, they can go through, they can see all the answers that somebody's done, and then they can see the results, meaning this was what the report generated for them. So you've already decided what you want to tell them, and the structure of your report, and then this actually applies it to their thinking. Then you can have a checkpoint to review it, so that you can, make comments on the report for them, and you can make your own private notes, and then you can release it to them. So you know exactly what's going on with each of your clients that come in, and there are different modes of delivery as well. So depending on how much time you want to spend with each client, you might prefer to only work with VIPs and still only, work with, I don't know, 4 people a month or a quarter. But what you can give them is a huge amount of support and guidance, so that when you do come onto your session with them, they're fully prepped and so are you. Or you have a more scalable, have people benefit from, like you would write a book or an online course, a zero touch one, but you can still see all everything that's going on coming in and out, or a blend where you give them that low touch and then they can ad hoc pay to have extra time with you. So there's various options there. I'm aware that we're late on time, so I'm just going to see. So yeah, basically, this is what I was just saying. You have full visibility. You're in control. You can put checkpoints in and review everything, and also you can be present as much as you want to. So this means that it's all centered around you and your energy and your approach, and it's not, just sidelined to an AI bot that just you don't see what's going on. So it's kind of taking the best of both worlds, like applying AI guidance with your methodology and also having you present. So it feels like there's still that connection. So yeah, that's the main bulk of what I wanted to cover, just showing you how you can use AI not only for being strategic before you create your content, then also for your growth and thinking about partnerships and outreach, and then finally allowing you to finally scale your actual delivery, so that you can take on more and more clients at different levels that you're comfortable at without losing control or losing your magic. So I hope that made sense. How was that, Angela?
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much, Tess. So the we'll make sure that the links are also in the show notes as well for
Sure,
the people who have been able to scan the QR code.
sure.
Um, but it's absolutely brilliant. I mean, I saw you talk, hinting a little bit about your programs at the Speak and Shine sessions, and that's one of the reasons I asked you to speak today, because I'm absolutely fascinated uh, by what you've created. And I can think of other applications for it as well. So can I ask a question? So it's more of a personal question.
Mhm.
So I've got a book series, and I would absolutely, and the book series is, so I've got a couple of book series. One series are my books, and the other series are book collaborations. And what I would, I was just getting so many ideas when you were talking, and I was thinking, would there be a way of make turning the book series into courses, sort of interactive courses with your systems?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, this is exactly what I found is that it's so suitable for business books where you have a framework where you've explained and educated people and then taken them through a process of change where they achieve what they want to achieve. Absolutely brilliant for books. And it's so the way we work is that we help people, we come up with a whole structure. You don't really have to do that much. If you've already got a workshop or a book, we can turn that into an AI program. And the way that we do it is we front load all the work for us. So we'll create all the drafts so that you can have a look and then we iterate it. If you go, that's not exactly how I'd put it, we also come up with the personas. So what we first do, all we need is your book, right? And then what we can do is generate for you, this is how we do it as an AI program, because we're looking at
Okay.
the outcomes you're giving people. And that's the starting point. We work backwards to how do we get them to get that perfect output, right? So it's the process is working brilliantly. Like I'm working with a leadership coach now. She just gave me a copy of her book and she's been blown away by the quality of the AI program we produced. And she's having pilot users go through it who've literally cried with the changes they're experiencing because we're applying what the way that she does her coaching. She knows the questions to ask, so we ask those questions. She knows what kind of um, transformations people go through, or she knows the patterns. She's been coaching for 40 years, right? She knows the
Mm,
patterns and she can anticipate. Once she asks the question, she knows how to help them. And then, it becomes something where she can say, okay, here are your it's not homework. It's like these are things to try to help you break out of that pattern, right? But
mm,
they're
mm.
so spot on because they're not generic from a book. They're really about the thing that you just told her. It's like you've had a coaching session. So it's
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
incredible. But the way that we do it is we all we need is your book. Or if you don't have a book, but you have the way you work with people is this is your process. These are the questions you ask. If you have transcripts or you can redact them so that they're not using people's personal information. We just need that structure, that typical structure you use. And sometimes people have like a report they give people, or it's a session where you sit with them and you'd say these things, but you may have a structure you've worked out already of this is what I need to include in this to really give them the impact they're looking for. Whatever it is that you found that works, it's really amazing what you can do with an AI program to reproduce those things in a really personable way that people feel like, wow, you can still have that transformation.
Mm,
And
mm.
what I love about this is I don't want to take the human out of the picture, but we know that people read books and they get amazing transformations from reading books and they never meet the coach. And why not have that, but even better with this, like it's meeting them more than halfway. It's walking them
Mm,
through those steps,
mm.
and being really specific. They don't have to guess how it applies to them. So it's just super powerful. Yeah.
I I think it might, bizarrely, I think the book series that it might work with are the channel books, which sounds absolutely crazy because the concept of these books have come from the Ascended Masters, but that I'm not sure whether or not it would work with the Oracle book series because
Mhm.
the way they are structured, they're structured around a theme. For example, Caroline's written in the Magdalene Oracle, so she's told her story about how she came to work with Mary Magdalene, and then she's given a soul practice for people to use, a sacred practice for people to use. So the oracle books are based around stories and practices or sacred practices, depending on the book. So I'm not sure. Maybe we'll have another conversation about that. And
Yeah, I mean, this is very new. It's experimental. I'm never going to claim that this will definitely do what you need it to do. This is a new kind of area, like the spiritual side of things. I've been, working so far. This is very new. We're still launching, right? So I've been working with a leadership coach, sales coach, business development, various things like that. I've been working with different business ops, PR. But the spiritual side of things is very new to me, and it's not an area I'm very familiar with. So I would love to experiment with it and see what works. And the way that we build things is that we build a first iteration, which you then critique. It just takes a load of work off you because instead of me going, so what do you want? I'm going, how's this? And then you can say, this works, that
yeah,
doesn't. It's
yeah, yeah,
a lot faster to
yeah.
get really good results.
That's really exciting, Tess, and we'll chat more. Are you going to the Speak and Shine in July?
I think I'm away that week,
Ah,
so afraid not.
okay, okay. So Caroline, sorry, chatting away here. Do you have any questions for Tess?
Thank you. They were that actually, Angela, your questions were really, really good then. And Tess, thank you so much for explaining that with so much clarity. It was really, really brilliant too. And
Welcome.
so amazing. I'd love to see what's going on inside your head to have all of those ideas all
A
the
lot,
time and then to
lots of
implement
cogs.
them. Yeah. Um, my question actually was really, you referred to it when you talked about working with AI when they go, oh, well, this is this. And then you say, oh, well, actually, no. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah, sorry, you're absolutely right. How do you have any tips for how you really train the AI not to do that kind of not very thought through thing? Because, like you kind of alluded to, it's very frustrating. And when because I have a very creative mind. There are lots and lots of ideas. And so sometimes I think, oh, well, I'll use it because it will summarize this for me, or it will make it easier for me to write something. In fact, I was doing the LinkedIn thing and I was like, make this long bio, 500 words. It wouldn't do it. And it
Oh,
went on and on and on. And
yeah,
then it was saying things like, oh, sorry, yeah, you're absolutely right. And I'm
so
sorry I didn't do it. And
frustrating.
I'm like, well, yeah, but are there any tips to make to work with it so that you can find that it's really a support, not the other way around?
One of the things I found that is hardest is getting it to be concise. Like there's sometimes I've been banging my head against a brick wall because it just won't, it just keeps waffling on. And that is a challenge, I've got to say. And it is a process of iteration and finding, I think that what I found works best is you find if you can, it's difficult if you're doing something totally new, but if you've got one that looked good to examples, it works really well for examples. So if you have several pieces of writing they're happy with, keep those examples and feed it back. When you start, go, this is the style I want you to write in, or I want you to be brief like this, or use this language. It's giving it examples rather than telling it what not to do. Whenever you tell it not to do stuff, it doesn't work as well as when you show it what to do. But yeah, I've got to admit that is a challenge, and I haven't always cracked it. Sometimes there's when I've been working with a leadership coach, for example, she works with very senior executives, and she needed to be really concise and really on point. And I worked really hard on making that happen. So at the moment, so I'm working towards automating further and further what my process is myself. I'm building my own AI programs to do my AI programs, right? It's very meta, but I'm still in the process of that. And so at the moment, I'm iterating, and learning from how I'm doing it manually to teach it to do it its own way. It's mind-boggling, but but that is something that is the biggest struggle is getting it to be really concise. And it took me quite a few goes till we've got a really spot on report now. And that's where I'm doing things is fairly manually for now. But yeah, bit by bit, it's getting built. And then I'm excited about scaling as well, because at the moment I'm working with founding members, much more hands-on, and I hope to scale it further that way because I'm very excited about doing this for people. I think, people are kind of holding back from AI or not figuring out how to use it or getting frustrated. And it's like, okay, let me simplify this whole thing of putting your methodology into a thing that people can actually access. So I'm, yeah, super excited about it myself.
I just want to share something with you. I've been using AI for research quite a lot. I mean, a lot of people do, don't they? And I will generally ask ChatGPT and Claude the same question. And Claude, this one day, Claude gave me an answer that I knew was wrong. And I said, I think you've made a mistake there. Immediately, because I've got the free version, it signed me out and said, You've reached your maximum. And it was like, there wasn't any. And it was like, it was only the second question I'd asked. And I thought, oh, well, okay. Be like that then. It's very
Wow.
moody.
That's quite funny.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much, Tess. And I'm sure that the people who watch this back on replay wish they'd come and joined and so that they could ask you questions live. But we really appreciate your time. And yeah, will encourage all of the author community and healers to reach out to you
Thank you.
because there is so much they can use AI for in terms of support, and so they can serve more people, and that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly it for me. Like what drives me is I love I mean I love tech generally, I've got to admit. I know not everyone does, but I love tech. But I love what it does for people and the impact it can help them, the reach and the depth of the impact. Like that's what's exciting me right now. It's not just can I reach more people, it's like and how effective can my
Yeah,
working with
yeah.
them be through this medium. So that's very cool. So the QR code I've got there will take you to actually try out our platform, as in, like I said, I'm making AI programs for my own consulting, which is how can I help you make an AI program? Well, take my AI program to find out, that kind of thing. And so this is just a very simple, it just takes 5 minutes, just asks you what you do. And especially if you have a book, you could just put in the names of the chapters, right? And it's going to be like, this is the structure that people follow in my framework. And then like these are the outcomes they get. So you'll answer like 4 or 5 questions, and then we'll produce a report for you within a couple of minutes that basically says, okay, if this was an AI program, we would structure it like this, just very high level. And
Mm,
so I'm still working on the next chapter, which will also give you a quote for how much it would cost to build. So like all of these things that I would normally do on a call, I'm automating it so people can find out and see if it's for them, right? And
yeah,
that's what you'll
yeah.
want to do with your people at the top of the funnel as well. It's like find out a bit more about what I do, find out how much it costs before you get on a call with me, because now you've seen what my impact is. I want to know if you're serious before I use my very precious hour of my day to talk to you. And I think that's where a lot of people fall short. It's like, let's see if they, it's nice to talk to them. I might need to talk them into it. If you can show enough value in your freebie, which is the videos, the energy that you have, that, like the convincing stuff you would do on a call, you don't have to have that call. You can have that call with someone who's actually serious about taking the steps and they know
Mm,
what the investment is, that kind of thing. So that's what's coming.
that's brilliant. Thank you so very much, Tess. And
My
for anybody
pleasure.
watching on replay, then all of Tess's details and are going to be in the show notes.
Great. Thank you so much, Angela.
Thank you. Hello, thanks for watching. Sign up for more on Cariad Spiritual by scanning the QR code here and check out the show notes for access to our incredible experts. And don't forget to hit subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye.